Hey guys, welcome back to the Clarifiers channel. My name is Alexi, and on this channel, I talk about how to build God level confidence. And if you feel like that's an overpromise and you feel like you're going to get underdelivered, go check out my video that talks about what is God level confidence. In today's video, I want to talk about one topic, and I have a bunch of notes, and you'll see me reading from them and jotting things down here because I want to make sure that you really get this point. And the topic of this video is the secret to personal development. So the development of your persona, your person. Now, to use synonymitization effectively and in a powerful way, you have to grasp this concept, okay? I'd highly suggest to watch this video on 2x speed because it just sounds much better, much faster, much more articulate. And so in this video, I'm going to be talking about something interesting. Don't I always talk about the interesting things? Okay, so there is two people that you have to watch out for or be aware of. Person one is what I call the core self. This concept, this idea has been around for ages. I just happened to learn it after I put this together, and then I shared it with some other people, and they're like, oh, that's kind of like this, like this. So this is not a new idea. And anybody who has never been around this idea, if you sit long enough and think about it, you'll realize that there's a lot of truth to what I'm about to share with you. And so what I want to share with you now is there's two parts to us, okay? There is our core self. Now, this is who you are, what you are. It's that silent voice in you that's always pushing and encouraging and challenging you to become this next level human being. Hold on a second, a little technical difficulty here. And that's your core self. And it speaks very quietly, but a lot of times very consistently. And if you don't listen to it, well, you know, your core self is the essence of you. And then there's this other part or parts to us, what I like to call characters. If you see misspelling, it's up to you, not up to me. As long as you get the point, I say it, I write it. If it's different, it's all good, okay? So most of us can have dozens, okay? We can have dozens, heck, maybe 100 different characters in ourselves. So what is a character and why are they important and how are they different from your core self and who is the character? Let's say this. You, as a person, at some point in your life, had an experience. And then when you had this experience, starting from childhood and right up until today, this could be happening, you have some kind of experience. Naturally, this experience, you'll have to create a definition for it. I like it, I don't like it, comfortable, uncomfortable, get more of it, or avoid it. So we create this definition, and we always create definitions about everything and anything. If there's emotion involved, if there's some kind of experience, you will create a definition. This definition, in turn, creates a response. Okay? And a response. And it's this response that becomes a habit of life that becomes then a character. Boom. Here they are. A character is your response based off of the definition that you made about an experience. So imagine this, there's one person that always just gets to you, either in a positive or a challenging negative way. For example, I have two friends in my life. When I'm around them, man, I don't know what kind of definition, haven't thought through this one, but my definition response to being around them is just being giggly and just funny, and this funniness comes out of me that I'm just like, where's that coming from? Other times, just say a name of a person or a place, and next thing you know, this other side of you comes out and you're just like a porcupine. That's a character. So it's a big difference from your core self. These two are different. It's like a lot of times you could be yourself, being yourself, and all of a sudden somebody says something and all of a sudden you become this monster or this epic, interesting human being, and everybody's just like, what's going on? And then you look back and think, what the heck? Why did I do that? And so characters, like I said, you can have dozens of those different characters in your life. You can have hundreds, or you can have thousands. I personally sat down a while back and was able to clearly, distinctly see how I have 30 different characters. Now, this is not the same thing as dissociative identity disorder, or some people call it multiple personality disorder. That's different. That challenge, that psychological challenge, is actual different personas living in one individual. Characters are just temporarily characteristics, our response to a situation that just hijack our brain. Okay? And so experience one creates one character. A second experience in your life, if it was strong enough and you had to create a definition around it, creates a second character. And so when something similar happens again, guess what? Boom! This character will pop out, take over the driver's seat for that temporary moment because that emotion was sparked, and bada bam, bada boom. So like I said, we can have dozens of characters who at one point, they actually served us, okay? We can't call them evil because at some point these characters right here and that characteristic, that response, that definition, it helped us in some way. It helped us get what we needed. A lot of these characters were created when we were young. We still do create them throughout our life, but most of them are created when they're young, and they served us. And so the thing about needing these definitions, let's just say all this was a need at some point. This character was a need, a necessity. The thing is, in life, guess what happens? We grow. So our needs grow. Therefore, because our needs grow, because you as a human grows, as long as you're mentally capable of thinking, guess what? You grow, your needs grow. When you were a child, you pooped in your pants. You grew up, you start pooping in the toilet. Okay? Just saying. And so that happens in every aspect of our life. And so we grow up, we start growing, our needs start growing. And therefore, we need to, our definitions need upgrading. Boom. Okay? Our definitions, right here, definitions in our life are our habits. So as you see, in experience, we create a definition. And this definition is our response to the experience. So right here is habit, is where the word habit comes in. Another word for habit, aka, is our subconscious programs. Boom, our subconscious programs. So here it goes. Let me just circle that. Our habit equals subconscious programming. It's very important to understand this. So say a character, let me see you check this out really quickly. Yes. Say somebody in our life boom. So a character right here, what we're talking about, is a definition, which is our habits, which is a habit in this case. That is our subconscious programming. Characters are the definitions we made in our brain that created habits, done long enough, got into the back of our minds. And now they play out automatically. Once in your subconscious, this habit, it just will happen and happen and happen until you change the definition. And once the definition is changed, then your character can change. But we'll go into that a little later. So when you're triggered at some point, someone or something triggers you. Let's do this. A little human being. Say you get triggered by an emotion or an experience. There's a 99.9 infinity percent chance that you're going to a automatic subconscious definition or habit right there. You're going to 99.9% infinity that you're going to jump into a character mode. So if you at some point made the definition, something happens, like boom, something just happened, well, guess who's going to get called up? A character in you, which is not your core self. What this character is, and what I've talked about in one of my previous videos, is this little other you sitting with a little A plus B equals C equation. And it's like part of your brain, okay? It jumps, this little character that's inside of you, jumps into the driver's seat, takes over, and temporarily your core self is out. And you just act out on your emotion, whatever this equation. Like I said in earlier videos, that I like to think of our emotions in equations, or just everything in life. I try to look at them as equations. And in this case, something is triggered. This equation, with this little human being in you, is a character that you created. This is why you respond to situations and only feel, and eventually feel bad about them, is because you're like, hold on a second, you get a few seconds to think about it afterwards, or hour or a day later, you're like, why in the world did I do that? You were temporarily hijacked by this character that you've created at some point that did serve you. Don't forget, it did serve you. And so you're doing this again and again and again, and might be getting frustrated and like pissed off or angry or any one of those emotions, and wondering what's going on. Like, why is this keep on happening? What do you do with this? What do you do with this knowledge? This goes into our second and last sheet. So most of us confuse our characters for our core self. This is very important, guys. Let me do this. Okay? Most of us confuse our characters, which we might have many, for our true core self. There's two key words. My marker fell. Let's pick it up. Okay. At some point, what happens in our life, this is another way this plays out. At some point, one of our friends or coworkers or somebody in our life is going to be like, hey, like for me, like, hey, Alexi, I noticed that you do so and so. And so what they're doing is actually pointing out a character. And if I confuse my character for who I am, my core self, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get pissed off at the person because I've confused a character for me. And I think that they're attacking me, or it feels like they're attacking me. And so the big challenge is that it can play out in two ways. That when people mention it to us, we get all defensive, we take it personally, and like yada, 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 and we do not get in a good mood. Other times it can play out as more internally instead of externally. You realize that you have to change something. You confuse your character, which is simply your subconscious program, which is a habit that's a response to a definition you made, or you made a definition of an experience, and now this character just gets triggered every time, like boom, 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 every single time, all the time. And so when people realize that they don't like this one character, they think that it's them, not realizing that it's just some other figment that they've created about themselves. And so what's happening here is there's simply, what's happening in life is you're recognizing these characters, or somebody else is mentioning something about a character, and you know it's another character when you realize that who you are and what you did are two separate things. When you realize there's that difference, then guess what? You've just noticed that there is a separate character. residing within your brain, and it can be changed, as you see right here. So let me read this. What's happening is they're simply bringing up one of your characters. If you get a negative internal or external response to somebody bringing up a character or bringing out that fact about you, this means you're just confusing these two. Okay? Sometimes we take it personal, like I said, and we get defensive. Sometimes we become over judgmental, and I've seen this happening. These are the two huge reasons that keep us from moving forward. Is we notice these things, we think that's who we are, and we feel bad and guilty, and because we feel bad and guilty, we feel like something got done, but nothing did get done. We never discovered who our character is and what is that equation in the back. So you can either fall victim to the emotions, or you can fall victim to the emotion, get mad at somebody, or you can go into a pity party realizing that you got something that you have to change about yourself. So what do? You can either get pissed off and angry and unhappy about it and let this be a downward spiral into yuckiness, or, like I wrote down here, you can learn to unpackage these emotions and build an incredible, confident self. Because on the vice versa, if you're confusing this character for your true core self, guess what? Your confidence is going to go lower, 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 and lower. But if you're willing to take these characters, which are definitions of experiences, aka another word of this section is called emotions. Emotions. Every definition is based on an experience, which is an emotion. And so that's what characters are, okay? We can either go downwards or we can go upwards. Your choice. You choose which one you want. If you choose to believe that your separate characters are you, then you will never be able to move forward beyond whatever your personal challenge is. So the question is, let me go like this, boom. Let me draw this out. Boom, boom. Now, we always have filler words, and I just realized that when I'm erasing and trying to fill in time, I keep on saying boom, boom. Here's you. And there's this part of you, and you can have a bunch of character 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to who knows? I'll just say a big number, 1,000. This, my friends, is not you. These are just definitions that you created that you keep on playing out. And in one of the earlier videos, I'll talk about the difference between, most of the time people say, you just reacted to that situation. I'll say, you didn't react, you actually responded. One of your equations, when your characters got triggered and you played out what you've made a decision that you will do long before it happened. Okay? So if you confuse your characters for your core self, which is this right here, your core self, call these the characters. If you confuse the characters with your core self, then frustration, anger, and similar emotions will be a constant companion for you. And you'll stay forever stuck at the level that you're at. Okay? If you constantly confuse your characters for your core self, it's always, the graph is going to look like this. If you realize, hey, I just realized one of these characters came about, and understand what is the equation there, and then change that equation, guess what? This is going to happen. Bam! So you can learn to meet your characters and give them new definitions. It is very possible. And I've watched a lot of videos about people asking, well, how do I do this? What happens? This right here is very possible. A lot of the definitions and characters were created when we were young. So when you create, and you can, through the synonymitization process, you can create these new equations, rewrite the equations of your life. And that's exactly what this method will help you do and help you achieve, so that you can build your confidence. Confidence being, you take back this two-person thing going on, your character and your core self, and then guess what? You mesh them into one. Each equation, each character, you're going to be able to take and mesh it in. And mesh it in. By meshing it in, I mean you become one person, so next time an emotion comes, it doesn't bug you, it doesn't bother you. It serves you and props you up and lets you move forward. So that was a long video, 20 minutes long, guys. This is very important. Your core self and your characters, two different things. And so next time somebody says something to you and mentions something to you, you feel like you get like a little, you feel like a little porcupine is kind of growing from inside of you. You feel like emotions are starting to take over you. That right there is the first sign that it's some kind of character inside of you trying to take control of you. And the synonymitization process can help you track that one down, figure it out, understand it, understand what that equation is, where it came from, how to rewrite it so it serves you. That's the whole process of unpackaging the gift of emotion. And then your confidence is going to grow up, 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 up and away. And it's like a puzzle piece. You're putting them together. You're puzzling yourself. As long as you got characters in you, it's a separate puzzle piece. But you're able to take this puzzle piece and put it into yourself. So remember, core self, character, mesh your characters into your core self. And my homies, my friends, my sisters, my fellow brothers, your confidence will start skyrocketing because who your core self is will be one whole thing full of confidence. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments down below. If you're interested in learning more about the synonymitization process, there's two ways you could do it. There's the free way, which is you can check this channel out and watch all the videos here about synonymitization. And yeah, you could do that. Or if you want to increase your pace and be part of a community, a group, or do live coaching with me, go to theclarifiers.com/synonymitization. I'll have it down in the comment comment section below. I'll have the link there. Fill out the questionnaire. There is a limited amount of people I do accept at any one given time. So if you're interested and really want to learn this and really want to take it to the next level, how to apply it to yourself, that's the thing to do for you. If you really want to learn it to teach others, I also offer that. So check it out, guys. Again, there's a free option. Watch these videos. I'm not holding anything back, just like this video. It's 22 minutes long. This is one really important concept to understand your core self and character self. And each video talks about different ideas, different concepts. Going forward, I'll be talking a lot more about the step-by-step processes actually that you can be taking to unpackage the emotions to create God-level confidence. On that note, have an awesome night.